Missouri Congressman Jason Smith is the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee. Good morning, sir. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Always great to be with you.
Great to have you. The House is expected to vote today on providing more Secret Service protection for major presidential candidates and vice presidential candidates as well. Do you see this bill making it over the finish line? It seems like there is bipartisan support for this.
I would hope that this bill would make it over the finish line, but it's unfortunate that we even have to be doing this bill. It should be demanded immediately by President Biden and Vice President Harris that the utmost detail in security for any presidential candidate, former president and current president, is out there.
Wanted to get to another story with you as well. The FBI is saying the Trump campaign has been hacked by Iranian hackers, giving that information to someone that was linked to the then Biden campaign. Trump spoke about that to Newsmax last night. Watch this.
It's gone over to the Democrats, the information they hacked. I don't know what it can be, but it's not a nice thing to happen. I call it Iran, 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 just like Russia, Russia, Russia. We had to put up with that for 2.5 years. And after 2.5 years, I could have told them the first hour, but after 2.5 years, and they know it was a hoax, but this isn't a hoax. This is real. I mean, this is real stuff. They hacked my campaign. They spied on my campaign, and they gave the information to Kamala. So when is the grand jury meeting? I'd like to know.
The ODNI, the FBI even saying this wasn't public information that was gathered, rather private information, again, from the Trump campaign. I'm just curious, when you look across the water and you see if this happened and this was hacked by the Harris campaign, given to the Trump campaign, would this be a bigger story in mainstream media? Nevertheless, it is a big story. Do you believe there should be investigations into this?
There should absolutely be investigation. This is reckless behavior of Vice President Harris, the Democrats, to collude with the Iranians, the same individuals that we know with widely public knowledge that they are trying to assassinate Donald Trump alone. The Democrats, one thing, are always guilty of what they accuse the Republicans of being in. They tried to say Russian collusion in the last election, when in fact, you should look in the mirror, the Democrat Party. It's just a pattern over and over again. But to be colluding with the Iranians is reckless behavior. But it's the same reckless behavior that Vice President Harris and the Democrat Party is doing by saying that Donald Trump is going to destroy the democracy. And they continue to say that after the second assassination attempt. And with that lunatic that tried to kill the president on Sunday, he even posted in April that democracy is on the ballot this election. So he is listening to their rhetoric, and they are continuing to force that rhetoric, which is reckless behavior.
But you really quickly, you believe there is collusion between the Harris campaign or the then Biden campaign with Iran? You believe that?
Well, it's quite concerning, and we need to look into it. We absolutely have to investigate it. Why would this come out? If you recall, early on in the presidential election, President Trump came out and said that the administration at that time, the Obama administration, was wiretapping his campaign, and mainstream media was like, this is not the case. This is not true. Well, what did we find out later? So we need to definitely look into this.
I think it's important to note that there's no evidence that anything was received by the Harris campaign or by the Biden campaign, and that they are suggesting that nothing might have been opened. We oftentimes will get emails that look like spam. This may have looked suspicious to them. Your response to that?
That's exactly why we need to look into this, because we don't know the answers to that. But if we find out that there was any collusion with the Democrats, with Vice President Harris, with the Iranian, we are going to be cleaning out some closet.
Yeah, no question that Iran is not the friend to the United States or the former president. Moving on, Vice President Harris did a campaign event with Oprah last night, as you know, where she was asked about the economy, and her answer was long-winded. Let's listen.
We really would love to know what your plan is to help lower the cost of living.
Yeah, first of all, thank you both for being here. And yours is a story I hear around the country as I travel. And in terms of both rightly having the right to have aspirations and dreams, and ambitions for your family. That's why I'm taking on, for example, price gouging.
So what do you think of Harris's command of that issue? I mean, she's an excellent speaker. We've seen her be much more clear and more direct in her answers. But on this particular issue, it does seem like she's not answering the question.
As anyone watching that clip can see, that it was nothing but a word salad. And the reason why it was a word salad coming out of Vice President Harris's lips is because she can't answer how her administration has affected the lives of working class Americans, because they spent $10 trillion in their first 2 years of office, where the Democrats controlled the White House, the House, and the Senate. That is what put jet fuel on inflation. That is why inflation's gone up 20.3%, is because of their reckless policies. But guess what? Republicans took over the House. We stopped that increase in spending, and that is why inflation is going down. Vice President Harris can't answer that because she was the tie-breaking vote for those spending packages, the American Rescue Plan, the Inflation Reduction Act. Vice President Harris was a deciding factor. So she is the simple reason why every American is struggling to put food on their table, clothes on their backs, and gasoline in their cars. And that's why it's a word salad when she's asked that question.
Missouri Congressman Jason Smith, thanks for being here today. We appreciate your time.
Always great to be with you.